Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host, Don Elmy. With me is my good friend, Nick Millet. And yeah, like a lot of you have wanted us to cover this one for a while, especially, definitely a lot of you wanted us to cover this, in recent months because of Nosferatu. Yeah, Robert Eggers, like about almost a decade before Nosferatu, he made this very shocking horror flick that really disturbed audiences, and it's The Witch. Here, let me just cut up on comments here.
Hey,
Hey,
Thomas.
Thomas, thanks for tuning in. Hey, Leon, good to hear, good to see you. I'm doing great. Just got back from an Italian restaurant with some old friends, people who I knew from grade school.
Hey, Robert.
Hey, Robert, how's it going? How was Nosferatu? Oh, Nosferatu is
Oh,
grim,
it is
but
dark.
it's dark but brilliant. Yeah, like definitely well made.
It's still, however, kept, and this is kind of like what you see in this movie too. The Witch is, it has that gothic feel to it. So, yes, I am on time. Chris, what the hell are you? You should be on with us.
Yeah, come on, where are you, man?
See, if Tom was on right now, I would have said we're in the pickle dimension.
Yep, big old dimension. Oh my god. Oh man.
Thomas said
Here.
Bill Skarsgård should play Joker.
Well, he did a good job as Pennywise playing a killer clown, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bill can play anything at this point.
Oh yeah,
Oh, he
I
hasn't
totally
seen the
agree.
movie. That's why. Okay, that's why Chris hasn't come on yet. Hasn't come on. He hasn't seen it.
Okay. Well, if you haven't seen it or not, there's plenty we can tell you about. But
On
this
plus,
movie.
he could always make it for the next. He could always make it for the next one, whichever movie
Oh
we
yeah.
talk about next. Same with Robert. Yeah, because I remember that's the other thing too. I just want to throw out. Obviously, it's been. I said this right before we went online. It's been quite a very long time where it's just basically, hey, Joanne, good to see you. It's been quite a long time since we've actually done a show where it's just me and Don for a while. And a lot of the other show hosts, the reason why we don't really have anybody else on is that they really hadn't had the opportunity of watching The Witch. So therefore, you guys are stuck with me and Don tonight.
Yep. And oh yeah, I just got a message from well, I just want to let you know that. But before I was on here, I was meeting up with someone who worked with me in grade school, and along with her daughter, who is my age. Man, Miss Harwig and Aaron, I'm sure they're watching right now.
Oh, you've told
Yeah,
them about the show.
so
That's good.
yes, I did. And tonight, we're covering a particularly dark movie. Yeah, like the kind that only Robert Eggers can tell. And this was his first movie, his first feature film, anyway.
That's right. And it was
Yeah,
also, who's the actress's name? I already forgot her name.
Anya Taylor-Joy, and I this is the first movie I've seen her in, and I've seen a whole bunch of her work ever since then. Let's see, she was in the two M. Night Shyamalan movies. It was Split and
Yep.
Glass, and let's see, and after this, I've seen her in what was it? The New Mutants, where she played Magic. She was Last Night in Soho, The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, and and two of the recent ones, she was the voice of Princess Peach in the Super Mario Brothers movie, and
Really?
And Furiosa.
Wow, she's really done a lot. Well,
Oh yeah,
I think in this case, alongside Robert Eggers' kind of debut, I think this might have been her very first movie role at that time.
it was definitely her first big role.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
Robert.
pretty sure.
Sorry, go ahead, Don. Go on. No,
I
I
was
was
going to
just
say,
going
I'm
to read
pretty
what
sure.
Robert said. The reason why he can't join tonight. Got eyes dilated just now for testing, so things will start blurring. So, well, hopefully you get better soon, Robert.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, Thomas. She was Magic in the New Mutants. Yes, she was in that along with Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones, and and also I believe one of the cast members from Stranger Things was in that. Jonathan from Stranger Things.
Oh, really?
Yep. So it had some familiar faces in it. Let's see. Anya Taylor-Joy. Let's see. She's here 1996. So she's 28 years old. Let's see. She was, I think.
Big, big old Tom's in the chat.
Oh, he is nice. Let's see. Yeah, she has done a couple of roles, a couple of minor roles before The Witch, but yeah, this is the Witch is a film that this the movie that really made her a star.
Yeah. At that
Hey,
time, she
Tom,
was only like, I think like 19 years old when she
18,
started in it. What?
18.
Oh, 18. Okay. All right. I figure it would have been around that. About 18, 19 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. What was impressive, what really impressed me with this movie was just the dark like atmosphere, the way they just use natural lighting and shadows, like typically like which is pretty much the same way that Nosferatu was filmed. I believe. I'm wondering if Robert Eggers used the same cinematographer for that.
That's what I wonder too, because what I like about Robert Eggers' movies, in this case, both The Witch and Nosferatu, and any other upcoming projects that he'll probably be working on, is he, in my personal opinion, is kind of going back to the old fashioned way of how horror
Hmm.
movies were being made. In other words, his movies don't rely on special effects. It's like, just to throw a couple examples, like it's moving doors, it's shadows, it's lighting effects, it's sound effects and music. And
Right.
that actually makes it that's what makes a really good horror movie, when you don't have a lot of those effects to add. I mean, yeah, it's fine when you use them for certain movies, but to have like the old fashioned kind of way, that's pretty smart of what Robert Eggers has done.
Agreed. And I like how he just says, like there's it's like when you think about it, there's too many horror films that rely too heavily on gore for shock factor. It's like it can be effective, but there's some movies that really just overdo it. But here, there's a build up to it all.
Yeah. Well, not only that, in this day and age, you see a lot of movies, including horror films, using too much CGI. So no CGI at all in this movie. That's the good part about it too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, CGI can be effective if done right. But yes, we have seen a lot of movies where they've got it wrong.
Yeah, where they overdo it.
Yeah, but the last movie that we covered, Godzilla minus one, they actually got the visual effects right.
That was good. Yeah.
Yes. But let's see. For this movie, there are a lot of moments where it's just like they really that even from the very beginning it shocked me, like where the baby was taken and then killed off screen.
Yeah, that's another thing too to point out for both The Witch and Nosferatu, is that Robert Eggers, in a way, when it comes to death scenes, whether or not you see them, he shows no mercy to anybody,
Nope,
whether
he
it's
doesn't.
adults, kids, teenagers, or even babies. He shows no, or as Joe from Family Guy would say, no mercy. But yeah, he definitely has, he definitely makes them incredibly dark. And see, you wearing a suit jacket.
Yeah. This is my sports jacket.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's not a suit, but yeah, this movie basically he's showing right from the beginning in The Witch. He was showing like nobody is safe. If a baby can die in this, anybody can.
Another thing that really points out, that should be worth noted, because this came out also around the same time when The Witch came out. Like, it's like you said, it's way it's still hard to believe it's came out almost 10 years ago. It's hard. It just feels like a few years ago we saw it. Um, sorry, this Redwood tops it. I mean, if I was there, I could only add comedic value.
Oh yeah, if you were in this
uh,
chat, yes. If you or sorry, chat. If you were on this
yeah, we
virtual,
already talked about that.
yep. Let's see.
But
Would you?
anyways,
I
what I
did.
was going to say was, with when this movie first came out, I really honestly didn't know what to expect from it, because around that same period, I don't know if you watched the show. Did you ever watch that show Salem? Did you ever watch that?
Oh wait, not that one. I was thinking of that Chilling Tales of Sabrina.
No, see, I still need to watch that. Speaking of which, so it's like the opposite.
You should.
Uh, I actually do have the theme song, however, on my Halloween music list. I can tell you that. But anyways,
Yeah.
no Salem. No Salem. To me, when the Witch came out, that
Okay.
was when Salem was pretty much on its third season, and it kind of started off itself. It kind of started off as kind of like a spinoff as a result of the success from American Horror Story Coven, since they talked about the
Yeah.
Salem witch trials briefly.
Yeah, I
So
can see that.
when the Witch came out, I kind of thought this was probably going to be nothing more than almost like a movie version of the TV show Salem, but just with different characters.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously, it was a lot more different than I mean, yeah, it still kept with the tone, but it was still a lot more different compared to the TV show.
Right.
Uh, for
Bill,
starters, doesn't take place around the same. It doesn't take place in the same year because in Salem, not surprisingly, it takes place in 1692 during the Salem witch trials. I think the witch takes place what about 30 years early, 20, 30, 40 years earlier.
The Witch takes place in the 1630s.
Six. Okay, so oh wow, so like we're talking
Yeah.
like 60 years earlier then,
Oh, yeah. We're talking like way back. I mean,
long before the
yes.
witch
And
trials.
Billy just pointed out to me that Witch is spelled with two V's. I believe the reason why they did that, it was spelled the title of this with just two V's instead of a W, is because that's the way that it was written like back in that time period. Because I don't believe like W was very common in their alphabet back then.
I was gonna say, I think the full amount of the full amount of letters from the alphabet weren't really written at that time, so they were still kind of learning in a way. 1630s, I remember.
Uh, Okay, so Tom is apparently a time traveler.
Well, even
He
if
is
he was, even if he remembers the 1630s, he still is a man who lives down by the river.
no, I think he has a DeLorean parked in his garage. Yeah.
Well, uh, Tom, let's talk about that later. Thomas, I am doing good. Actually, I'll just throw this out real quick. Um, my health has still been improving just as great as it has been these last 2 months, and I have actually lost some more weight.
All right. That's great, man.
Not Tom said, not a time traveler. I'm a vampire.
I'm a vampire.
Well, I mean, technically, a vampire is kind of like a time traveler if he lives for so long.
Yeah. Well,
Just
I
can't
could.
go back in time.
I mean, could you seriously imagine, like, say you were like in the movie Abigail, like where Abigail it turns out to be 400 years old. Could you even imagine living 400 years?
Exactly.
Oh man.
It almost it's just like I couldn't do that.
Oh.
I think 80, maybe 90 years is plenty for me.
Oh yeah. Or if you look at like Wolverine from X Men, like he was around since the 1800s. It's like he has fought in like it fought in like I think in a lot of the wars, including both World Wars and Vietnam.
There was that actually reminds me of that movie. You ever seen that movie Near Dark? You ever see that one with
It's on my list. I've been wanting to see it for a while.
you got you
I'm
that
trying to
one you're
find.
gonna like.
I,
It's such a great Western vampire film, but there's a part of the movie where Lance Henriksen said because they never really reveal like how old they're supposed to be.
yeah.
But Lance Henriksen's vampire character said he's been around since the time he fought for the South, meaning that he's been around since the Civil War.
Civil War. Yeah. Wow. That movie's been on my radar for a while. I just haven't found the stream service to watch it on.
Actually, here's actually something really funny. I'll probably talk about this when we do a future episode of it, but Lance Henriksen also made a really funny joke about that. He said at one point that they had to do a scene where they had to kind of like, not real, but kind of bust Bill Paxton's head open. It was covered with all this fake blood.
Oh
And
man.
every
Yeah.
now and then, this train would just like stop right by the intersection. And so this guy came. So next thing you know, this guy comes out. He comes walking out of the diesel engine, and then Bill walked up to him with his outfit, and he goes, "Hey man, there's been an accident." He just goes, "If you think I'm bad, wait till you see the other guy."
Oh, Jesus. I am from the year. Okay. Even,
54. Is
okay. Before the
that
time. That's before the time of Christ.
I was going to say, is that AD or BC?
That has to be BC because it says negative, right?
It says negative, but I don't know if they had a negative in in the BC years.
He says negative, so I'm just gonna assume he means BC.
BC, yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah, so he's over 2,000 years old.
Oh man.
Let's see. Here,
Well, now it makes me wonder what Tom's going to look like in 2146. Then.
yeah, let me check out some comments here. Oh, here, Billy is saying yes. We covered some of her movies that I have seen since The Witch. Yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, she's really made a name for herself over the years. I gotta say.
I honestly thought with what she's done, especially in the horror genre, after she did this movie and that after she did Split, I can't remember some of the other. Well, and of course the somewhat sequel that they made.
Glass. It was Glass.
Glass. That's what it was. Thank you. I couldn't remember the title. If she does any other like horror related movies in the future, something tells me that she's probably bound to become like one of the next Scream Queens because she just plays these roles so well.
I can see that.
I'm honestly surprised she hasn't already been called a Scream Queen in this case.
Oh yeah, like let's see who like one person I do like to consider a Scream Queen today. Scream Queen is Jenna Ortega. She's in like the Scream movies. Yeah. Let's see, X, Fear Street, like all these like all these different movies. Like it's just great.
I know she's kind of now expanded to other genres, which I don't know if you heard recently of her most recent, not film role, but I think she was doing I think she was narrating some documentary that came out a few months ago. And it
I'll
was
look into that.
Not to get too much into it, but it's actually, I think it's supposed to be revolving around like, lives around, homosexuality, trans, that kind. Wait, what did Tom say? I know, Jesus. He was quite. Washing people's feet.
Tom.
But
yes.
But anyways, no. Well, Jenna Ortega had just started doing, like I said, had narrated this documentary. I think it's kind of revolved around life, like around like people who are homosexual, transsexual, that kind of thing. And I heard it was kind of a really well received documentary. So it's not only again just horror movies she's done; she's really expanded. Of course, also she was on SNL.
Yeah, I know that. I'll have to check that out, Nick. Oh, and also Billy.
I still need to see that. Speaking of which,
yes. And Billy, the reason why I didn't mention Wednesday or Beetlejuice 2 is she didn't really do much screaming in those.
No, she didn't really.
So when I say Scream Queen, I mean like movies where she actually screamed in.
But yeah, she's really done a lot. So she's really been making a name for herself.
Right. Oh wait. Well, Billy's really giving us a lot of comments here. Joan of Arc was a million-year-old immortal who wasn't burned at the stake and entered. Oh. Huh. I never would have mentioned that.
Yeah, I just thought of something. You probably may know this, Don. All this talk about supposedly living hundreds of years. Did you know that we actually have? This sounds quickly unrelated, but it'll get right back to the subject matter. Mm-hmm. Do you know that we have a nature center nearby us called the Grove? Did you ever seen that before? We passed it.
I think I've seen that somewhere. Yeah.
Well, it's also a lot of history to it. Not very much really paranormal wise. It's a historic house, but they have a nature center, and they have a still Gilly, she might be we have a nature center. We got an alligator. They have an alligator snapping turtle in this nature center.
Oh yeah, an alligator snapping turtle. Those will take a finger off. You don't want to mess with those.
Yeah, well, I don't know if this one really will because of how old this snappy turtle is. I'm not even joking when I say it. It's over 150 years old. So like when I calculated exactly what year it would have been born back then, like when it was first born, would have been born back in 1871. Which if you think about it, he was born the same year when the Great Chicago Fire occurred, and is still alive today. But though I do kind of feel bad for it, though. I mean, it's just barely alive. When you first see it, you would think at first it's nothing more than a statue. But until you start seeing it moving, it's got to weigh several hundred pounds. I mean, just how big it is. But it's just like, how long is he supposed to remain here? It's you kind of do feel bad for him after when you first see him. Because it's like, he's lived enough years.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, we'll
Let's
gum
see.
you to death.
Yeah. Turtles don't have gums; they have beaks. But
Yeah, I was
anyway,
gonna say
so
they have the beaks though.
anyway, back to The Witch.
Yeah.
So The Witch was filmed in about 3.5 weeks, and I gotta say, the production design, like all of this, was just phenomenal. And one thing I was impressed with was the musical score. Yeah, the score of it, like they really the movie really helped make it what it is. And I looked this person up, and Mark Corvin did the score for this. He also did scores for other horror movies, like well, here's one that I remember pretty well: Cube. You ever heard of Cube?
I've heard of Q, but I don't really know too much about it.
Yes, it's from 1997. It's where like a bunch of strangers are trapped inside this structure, full of rooms. Like each one of it is shaped like a is like a cube, like in has the same like dimensions. Each room has the same dimensions as each other. It's a you know like square floor, square, yeah, but and they have to be careful which one rooms they go into
Hey,
because
Kate.
they have traps.
See, to me, that almost just now that you described, I mean, to me, that almost sounds like something that could have been used for like one of the Saw movies.
I believe it could have been inspired Saw to some degree.
How old is it?
Uh, 1997.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that was definitely long before Saw then.
the first one's the only one that's worth seeing. The sequels, yeah, they're crap. But let's see. He also did the music score for Black Phone and let's see. Oh yeah, the first Omen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
What's
hey,
up,
Kate.
Kate?
Canadian friend is staying with us. Oh, hey,
I
don't
didn't
worry,
realize.
Kate. Hey,
Yeah, don't
totally
worry. I didn't
understand.
know her friend was from Canada. That's awesome either way.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, even if it's just briefly, it's good of you to hear from you.
Stay warm out there, Kate.
Oh yes, definitely stay warm because it's been brutal and it's going to get worse
Oh,
tomorrow.
I had to run outside briefly about an hour before I got on here. Thankfully, just for a minute, just to grab the mail because nobody grabbed the mail today. So I had to run out. I didn't
Ooh.
actually run out, but I walked fast because there was no way I was going to be standing out there for no more than a minute. Although I will admit, though, I like that it's a full moon tonight.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I can see it from my window here.
Yep. Yes, it is.
Nice. Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, like as so the movie, like the very beginning of it's like before that shocking scene with the baby, like the Christian family gets banished from their church over like a religious disagreement. And just looking back at that scene, I'm just like, if their offense was just simply saying Jehovah, I would say they got off easy compared to what we've seen in Monty Python's Life of Brian.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about it too, I mean, there is kind of some truth to that scene in particular because in those days, obviously, a lot of when it came to religion, that was a very strong element, I guess, for lack of
It
better.
was.
That was literally part of life. Like if you didn't accept or believe the same things that everybody else did, you would be banished for that case. And and,
Yes.
and that's honestly, when you think about it, that is something that's still kind of partially repeated today when you look at a lot of the Amish communities.
Oh
And
yes, definitely. I mean,
I think Mennonites do the same thing too. So I've always heard in a lot of cases when which Amish and Mennonite, well, Amish are more old fashioned than the Mennonites are, but still,
yeah,
I've heard of stories where they all have to kind of follow this list of rules of who they believe in, and
right.
if you don't cooperate or agree with it, you were kicked out of the community as a result.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the way these people in this movie live and talk is pretty much like how the Amish are now.
It's basically a rule that they take very seriously. But it's not just Amish and Mennonites that do that to this day. I mean, that was part of simple life back, over 400 years ago. Not to mention, too, this was even before the United States was even formed. This was
Yeah,
when we didn't even fully have 13 colonies at that point.
that's true. Yeah, it's like when I look at like Amish in cinema, that reminds me of this Harrison Ford movie from the '80s. It was called Witness. I don't know if you heard of this one,
Witness.
Nick.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I know. I've heard of it. I haven't seen it yet, but I still need. But it's on my list.
I got a glimpse of a couple of scenes, and this is before I even knew what the movie was. I got a couple of glimpses of scenes when I was 6 years old when my dad had it on TV, and the one thing I remember is a guy drowning in corn at a silo.
Corn.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
and yeah, I know it's an inside joke with Nick,
Yeah,
corn. But anyway,
corn.
but
Nick of the corn.
yeah. But anyway, I wasn't until recent years when I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to look into this movie. So I typed in "man, the movie where a guy drowns in corn silo," and then that scene came up, and it showed me what the movie was. And I'm like, oh, hmm, okay, I'm glad. And then I decided to watch the movie, and I was like, wow, Harrison Ford was awesome in this.
Speaking of Harrison Ford, there's another movie I got to see with him in it, and that's and this was actually released in the early '90s, and that's The Fugitive. So I still gotta.
That's a
Hey, have
great
you
one.
seen that one?
Yes, it's great.
Okay, yeah, I still need to watch The Fugitive one of these days.
Yeah.
I know they shot parts of it. I don't know if they ever shot anything up here in Chicago, but I know they did shoot some scenes down in Southern Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah, Billy, I believe this was due to scheduling conflicts that she was having. Around this time when Nosferatu was being filmed, she was doing the voice of Princess Peach, and she was also being doing Furiosa.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Josh, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. And let's see. Yeah. One thing I got to bring up the dialogue of this movie was amazingly well done. I mean, they really felt like you just time traveled and in that era. Because the characters, like the people who played these characters, the way they talked in this era, like really phenomenally well.
Just
Yeah.
basically, yeah, as I would say, just basically like your classic 17th century, accent and talk, like how people actually did talk back in the days, and what they could say, that kind of stuff. That's what I think was really done very well as a result.
Yeah, like you hear these phrases that they use, like "What dost thou want from me?" Like like the certain ways they talk that we don't use now. But yeah, and this was like nearly 400 years ago. And I actually did some digging, and it turns out they actually did take like actual historical journals and transcripts from that era. Studied that to really get the way that people talked back then, like down. So
Well,
you gotta. So hey, that's
well,
very
with
impressive.
them doing something like that, I'm honestly not surprised. So that's I'm glad they took that from real journals from that era that managed to survive after all these centuries. What's
Hey,
up,
Tom.
Tom? Hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, hope so too. Oh, hey, how's it going, Braxton? Good to hear from you.
Braxton,
Good to see you
Quaker,
on here.
that Quaker dialect. That's the other thing. They were kind of considered Quakers at that time too.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, wait, here. I will say this. At least this movie is better than The Village. Oh, yeah, the twist ending on The Village was just really.
I've never seen the. That's another one I haven't seen. I've heard a lot about it where it was good for most of it until the ending. Until like kind of like with 47 meters down, it was good until the ending, which I heard the ending sucked.
and and Signs.
And sides too.
I mean,
Well,
yes,
I
with,
do
with
again.
Signs.
I know the theme song from the Village though, that classic violin theme.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, with Signs, it's like why would if the water's their weakness, why would they invade a planet that's made mostly of water?
Not to mention too. Hey, what's up, Joe? Um,
Joe, what's up?
Not to
But
mention
yeah, The
too.
Witch is definitely
Oh, you got
yeah,
it.
definitely better. Yep, I've had this for a while. Yeah, The Witch is definitely much more watchable than The Village. Yeah, so
I just got it. Well, I was just gonna say to comment what you said about sides is, and you always see all these other alien movies that want to use our planet to steal natural resources, including water. And the fact that it
yeah,
becomes the enemy in science doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah.
Uh,
Right.
right?
Those who came before consider a lot of things back in the period where yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you,
that's
Braxton.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here Tom says may need surgery. Oh,
Oh, you may need surgery. You all right there?
well, yeah. Well, hey, hope it all works out for you, man.
Yeah, keep me updated, Tom. I know we haven't spoken in several days, but we'll definitely find it. We'll definitely find a time to chat soon. There, honestly, he's not the only one. There's a number of other people I gotta reach out to. I just had a lot. I've also still been putting away Christmas decorations. Also, I've also been writing a journal. I have a journal now Speaking of which, I've been
Hmm.
writing in a journal, kind of my own uh, diary that I'm doing, and it's actually for video projects that I've been working on to give myself updates. Believe it or not, it has a cover. It has a cover of Scary Stories Tell in the Dark. That's
Yeah.
why I call it the Scary Stories Diary.
Those who came before me. Yeah, I know what you meant to say, Braxton. We got you.
Oh wow, Tom's walking with a cane. Jeez.
Man. Like I said, hey, you're in our prayers, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And let's see. I wanted to mention when I first saw The Witch, I'm like the atmosphere kind of made me think a bit of just to some degree of Blair Witch Project
Yeah,
because
me
the
too.
wooded areas, and I'm like, oh my god, could this be a prequel to Blair Witch Project? Do we? Is this the origin story of how it all started?
You know, there is one more thing I got to point out, which you only see briefly in the movie. It was after when the family was banished from the rest of the community. Was I liked, in addition to like again the dialogue they used, I also liked how they incorporated. Again, it's very brief, but you see Native American. It's not just only you know Quakers living together, early settlers, but also you see Native Americans living
Right.
with them too. So even though it's the plot is still entirely fictional, it's nice to see that it shows a primary example that not all early settlers from that era were hostile to Native Americans that were living there, because there are many stories in which you hear early settlers and Native Americans did live, harmoniously together,
Yeah.
and that was, and although they probably had two different belief systems because they came from two different cultures. I guess that's the other thing I forgot to point out. Even though that they had a strict set of rules, they still were respective to Native Americans' beliefs. So it was nice to see that they were able to kind of show an example of what is kind of based off of true stories, where the early settlers and Native Americans lived together,
Right.
regardless of religious beliefs.
Yeah, but that's only with like. But bear in mind that only is just with certain tribes because there were some
Certain
tribes.
tribes.
Yeah, there because there were some tribes of Native Americans that were hostile.
That is true. Yeah, that's your. You make a good point. And even I forgot. I forgot about that too. Although
Yeah.
most of them, yes, were peaceful. Yeah, there were a few hostile tribes out there. In fact, I've even heard it from some of the paranormal shows, like when they've done like what I do. They do a lot of their history research, and they might come across, a Native American chief or something like that, and it turned out, he was actually a very violent person. And so I guess you can kind of say it kind of reflects on both sides. Some groups were peaceful, and then some others were hostile. In both cases, both with early settlers and Native American tribes.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, I can see that.
I
Oh,
just
here.
it was just that was something that was kind of unique, even though it was very brief. Like, I'm glad they incorporated that to kind of add again some truth to the country's history.
Yeah, like this movie does serve as like history lessons, like for that among many other things, the way people talk, the way they lived, and also how like it could be like how they faced like like some real bad conditions and like in like such a uninhabitable climate and uninhabitable like environment because think back to the like what was going on in this movie. Their crops were failing, their livestock was not producing what they needed.
Which is not surprising, especially at a time like this. I mean, people in those days were just trying to struggle to survive and make a
Hmm.
living too.
Yeah.
And it was a very different world back in those days.
Yeah.
Like when you compare, even though it's still a fictional film, you could still kind of see the reality of how people lived in those days. It was a very rough time compared to where we are now 400 years later.
Yeah. Oh, here I'm trying to show this. Beef. Yep, that's true. Yeah,
Yep.
because they would. I mean, they say that one of the hardest businesses to start is farming because the most successful farms today have been running for like generations. People who actually had a system who had took a while when they started to come up with a system that would keep on working for a long period for such a long time. Like getting it off the ground is like the hardest thing you can do.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
Tom, just got to point out what Tom just said. He's not doing too well. Jeez. Definitely sending you healing and prayers for you, Tom.
yes, totally.
Josh says, in the other hand, still are. I guess he's referring to the crops and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep. If it hadn't been for those Native American tribes, and
The European settlers, colonizers wouldn't have got through their first one. That is true.
Yep.
That is true. That was probably one of the, again, with my history knowledge, probably one of the most notorious examples of that was the Mayflower voyagers that led to the very first Thanksgiving
Yeah.
in 1690. Excuse me, 1691.
Right.
And when those early European settlers arrived from England, they had a very rough start to begin with, and even before they met with the Native American tribes at that time, which they were peaceful to begin with on both sides. It was the same for even the Native American tribes. Many died from famine, from disease, from exposure to the elements. So trying to get through those rough winters in those days was certainly very, very difficult, and especially when it came to especially growing crops. It was kind of a brutal time for a lot of people in that era. 1691. That's a wild year. I spent most of that year.
Oh my god. Oh man. Oh my god. Yeah. And it's just like, then and as time goes on, like they blame the crops on witchcraft and like for sick livestock, and that scene where Thomason was like trying to milk a goat, but it was only spewing out blood. Or also that one scene where she was like trying to where she was collecting eggs and one broke and it really revealed a bloody baby, like a little chick corpse.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it was just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy in this movie, and they were just putting witchcraft on all of it, and they were blaming Thomason for it all. It just felt like, when you really think about it, this movie to me just feels like a domestic version of The Crucible.
That's kind of I've seen it too. I kind of see it that way. Now let me see where Thompson. Now 1904 was the year I discovered the devil's lettuce. I was thrown off my butt that. Was that even the year when weed was even invented?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
I
know it's been around since the 30s, but I don't know exactly when it was.
Yeah, no. I know nothing about weed. I stay away from weed. I don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, you smoke it, that's fine. I mean, it's legal in this day and age now. But yeah, we just won't take part in it.
But not everywhere, but in this state, it is legal.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. Oh man. But
weed has always been there, growing naturally. Like what Tom has said. Why pickle, Tom? All right, what do you expect? As Tom would say, he's just saying.
Oh my god. Yeah, and this movie like really tackled the whole idea of like religious fanatics, and also like gender roles. So there was like a lot more to this movie than just people being targeted by witchcraft.
It really kind of gives that belief. I mean, again, that's another big thing that, of course, again, when you look at real history, when it came to witchcraft, that was something that they took very, very seriously.
Oh yeah.
And of course, unlike today, where everyone has freedom, to practice witchcraft at will, in those days, obviously, again, with the most notorious example, the Salem witch trials of 1692, witchcraft was illegal and greatly feared by the communities, and it was certainly something very looked down upon. And it was that typical belief that if you did something that just seemed unusual, even if it was just, off top of Tom looks like for Lost Boys.
Oh, why do I look like Kiefer Sutherland or something?
Oh, hang on a sec. The Puritans didn't allow no other book outside of the Bible. Yep,
That's true.
exactly.
That is very true.
Well, what I was going to say was, like I said, witchcraft was illegal and greatly feared in those days. So therefore, if you were caught doing something that was unusual, which by today's standards we just look at it as something normal. Well, in those days, they think, well, you're running over. Like for example, well, if you're running much faster than the average person or jumping a little bit higher, then yeah, you're definitely a witch, and then you're executed and hung for it.
Oh,
Or
so like if I was capable of doing many different voices, like that's not normal, so people don't consider that witchcraft?
yeah, maybe. Yeah, you probably would have been considered a witch back then.
Okay, so I'm a witch apparently, or warlock, whatever.
A warlock. You can you imagine? Can't believe I'm about to say this. Can you imagine if you lived back then and you talked like Nicolas Cage, and
Oh,
they definitely would have thought you would be a witch back then.
yeah. Yep, in about almost 400 years from now, I'll be playing a satanic serial killer in a movie. What is a movie, you ask? You'll find that out one day.
Actually, here's a better idea. They say if you're a witch, you should say, "No, I'm a vampire."
Nope, I'm a vampire.
Oh, I do gotta say, at times that cross on your necklace does look like a letter T, and I think, wow, this is that for Tom's world?
Nope, it's a cross with Bible quotes on the back of it. But the only letter I have in this is my first is the letter D. Yeah, my first initial. Yeah, but Trump hunted vampires. Yep, I did hunt many vampires during my time. I gotta. Hey, part of making America great again is to make sure we have no vampires.
Josh also said you would have been. He meant that. Yeah, you would have been a vampire. You would have been a witch if you spoke like Nicolas Cage back
Yeah.
then.
What if I? Yeah. What if I shouted like the Grinch?
Or
Gollum
Herbert.
from Lord of the Rings.
Oh wait, don't forget Herbert from Family Guy.
Yes. Mm. You need to come on down to the shop. I got a whole freezer full of popsicles. Mm. Oh,
uh,
creepy as hell, and yet
yeah.
so damn funny.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think they definitely would have considered you a witch back then if you smoked that way.
Oh my god.
Braxton said I would have been accused of plenty of his. There, you already know. Oh, jeez.
But here, Nick, the thing is, I actually did know somebody from college who's a pagan and actually does practice witchcraft.
I know a couple people in our paranormal community who are also pagans too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just necessarily investigators. I've met people who are legitimate witches. I've met pagans. Um, I've met a lot of different people, and contrary to popular belief, especially when it comes to witches, real witches, is that most of them do not actually worship Satan, as
Oh
everyone
yeah. Yeah,
there.
that's a very big misconception. People practicing witchcraft that means they like Satan, but that's not typically the case in this day and age.
I was going to say, well, that may be the case in some situations. Most of them usually don't. Um, as I would probably describe, for me, meaning certain witches out there, they're no different than anyone else. In fact, come to think of it now, we've actually had a few witches on some of our shows. In fact, among some of my favorite that we've had on as guests, and they're very good friends of mine. I've actually met them in person at some of the Paracons. They're known as the Wicked Wiccan Sisters,
Oh,
and which it's two sisters along with their mom and a friend of theirs, and they're wicked. They're actually wicked witches. So they're just some of the most loving people I've ever met. I'm hoping to see them again later this year.
nice,
They're fantastic. Since I'm a brother, I would have been the most swagged out villager after I became a vampire warlock.
nice. Unless they were type of witch that sister dropped the. I got it. Nice, classic, classic.
Well, another thing too to point out. I mean, it sounds partially related, but it still revolves around this whole talk of like how people in those days, took witchcraft very seriously. There was another country, in fact, that kind of did something very similar in this case. It was not with witches, though, but it was, in fact, again, with us talk about Nicolas Cage, this talk with vampires, too. Because over 100 years later, in what is now modern Hungary, they had a similar kind of paranoia of vampires, almost the same exact way as it was with witches a century earlier. It was like there was numerous executions. It was a rule in the late 1700s that the people of Hungary took seriously. So it's funny when I think, even though this is more revolving around witches, it's interesting to think how even the early days of American colonism, in a way, kind of not inspired, but kind of echoed that same kind of paranoia to other countries, in this case Hungary, with the threat of vampires.
Right. Let's see. Oh yeah. And also, this, like I said, this movie did tackle like religious fanaticism, like the whole aspect, like religious belief being destructive, which did cause the downfall at the last third of this film. And it makes me think of like how they pretty much did the same thing with Carrie. Like this destructive nature from like from that came from religion, in terms of Carrie's mom being a insane fanatic.
Yep. To me, it was almost, now that you said that, to me, it's kind of like watching a 17th century version of Carrie in some way.
I can kind of see that.
I mean, not very much to that degree, but a very small portion.
Slightly, as far as Thomason's mom went.
Yeah, exactly. There
Yeah,
actually is something. I'm just going to step off for just a quick sec. There actually is something I want to show you, that in this day and age, you open a Pandora's box. Well,
oops.
Hopefully you're all right, Josh. But anyways, I'm going to show something that in this day and age would be corresponding to witchcraft. But give me 1 second. If there's anything else you want to say, I'll be back in just a quick sec.
It's okay. I just wanted to talk about Josh's comment. So Josh, you opened Pandora's box. Did you get superpowers like Kratos in God of War? God, I love that game. Let's see. Mixing modern. Oh yeah, mixing modern pop slang with their English does thou mean. Nice. Oh yeah, like mixing modern language with old school language from 1630. Oh, that would be incredible.
That would be very interesting. That's for sure. That'd be a very interesting combination.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, even today, scattered throughout the country, there's different ways that people talk. Like when I first went to I don't know if I told you this, Nick. When I went to Western Kentucky University, when I first went there, you know how we refer to dollar bills as singles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went down there like when I was trying to get change from a 5, and I said, "Hey, you got any singles?" They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, singles. Like dollar bills." I'm like, "Oh, ones. Okay, yeah, sure. Here we can exchange." Yeah. So even today, we do say things differently in different. It depending on where you're at.
I thought of another one that I would say, but I don't want to cause any controversy. But it's just, let's just say it's the other term for a cigarette, in this case in the UK. I would say it, but I don't want to cause controversy.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah.
Well,
they actually did make that joke in this show Archer that I used to watch. It was hilarious, that show. Like they it was from like this flashback sequence during World War One, and taking place in England, I think. Yeah, where the character, what was his name? Woodhouse. Yeah, showed him during World War One, and they did use that term.
I think I also remember the animated series of. You remember the?
Hey,
Biggle Tom, you're in the chat. You're in the show. Awesome.
Look at me. I'm matching Don. I got my.
I just noticed that.
So
I even got the shoulder pads in there.
Yeah. Oh, shoulder pads. The thing is, I'm not wearing shoulder pads. It was just.
Well, they come with this. I don't. I grabbed it out of my dad's closet.
No, Josh said it. Yeah, I'm not going to read that comment. I'm not going to say it.
Well, I was going to say there was. Do you remember the animated?
Everybody needs something. I'm just saying, everybody needs something.
You guys remember the animated series of Clerks, right?
Vaguely,
they pulled that joke too on the cigarette.
Yeah, well, it's been around. It's been around.
Oh yeah, but
what I was going to show real quick was, first of all, like all this talk about like paganism and stuff. For starters, this is actually the journal I have that I use for the scary, and I just write For starters, I usually just write my thoughts.
Oh, is that where you got the videos from earlier, or
the videos? Yeah, that I was putting together.
No, the ones you sent me earlier.
Those are parody ones, but no, the videos I'm talking about are the ones that actually I'm going to be showing later this year in October for the Halloween season of the actual scary stories to tell in the dark. I know it's only January, but it's always good to put these together ahead of time. But what I've done, and this is what I'm going to get to the main point of like how it would be considered witchcraft. There was one of the other scary stories tribute books I have it kind of is like a book involving witches in some way. And there's a symbol that shows up, which, by some degree may look satanic, but I actually like it because it looks just really creepy looking. So what I've done in a way is I've actually kind of replicated that symbol to represent every time an audiobook collection is completed. And I could show you, and every time I end on a journal log, I add the symbol at the end. Here, check this out. I don't know if you guys can see it too well.
He hasn't added that symbol for the last audiobook series that he still hasn't edited.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to catch up. You guys can see it, right? The 3 lines?
Yeah.
So Necronomicon.
Yeah, here's a better one. Sometimes I've also been writing in red too for it.
Oh, see, it is the Necronomicon.
Yep, it is.
Blood.
Burn it.
It's not finished writing yet.
It's never finished. Yeah. The Necronomicon is always going.
Oh, here, Nick, do you know her?
Oh, we got a new viewer here. Hey, hello, Heather from Iowa.
Heather, how's it going? Yeah, hey, I like Iowa. It's a good state.
Yeah,
I feel like I look thin in this coat. It's making me feel good. Man.
Oh, wait a sec. Hold on. Now I got to go get something because you guys are wearing suit coats.
No, I'll put my hoodie back on.
I was going to say I got one too. Thinking, all right, guess I'm going to have to go get mine then.
Mine's got pinstripes in it though.
We are the men in black.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I better go get my suit coat.
Oh wait, actually, hang on.
Oh, the men in black.
Hey, good live earlier today, Tom.
Oh, thank you. Wait. Yeah, I didn't have any trolls. I was surprised.
Here,
I was trying to troll you though.
Yeah, well, that didn't work.
Here, let me complete.
Especially when you show up in 10 minutes when my show before my show.
There. Now I'm the man in black.
Wait.
Oh, that just gave me an idea, guys. You know what we're gonna have to do before we end the show? What? We're gonna have to get a picture of us. Yeah, here. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Go
These
get
aren't my normal sunglasses, by the way. Yeah. These are those sunglasses that go over regular glasses, but that's all I got right now. So.
Yeah, these are Oakley's.
Normally, I have safety glasses I wear.
Smoke has jail. That one rotates. Nice. Yeah. So like Tom, you said you haven't seen The Witch yet, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't get the opportunity to watch it.
It gets pretty. It's pretty dark. Even from the very beginning, it's dark.
Man.
Yeah. And
dark.
Yeah, because like there's a scene in the beginning where Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays Thomason, is playing peekaboo with her newborn brother, and then but then when she does peekaboo, open the eyes, the baby's gone. Was taken away. That was taken by a witch, and that opening scene shows that nobody is safe in this movie. Nobody. So, and like I haven't been that like the only thing I've seen involving babies in horror film that was like more disturbing than that was this one right here.
Dracula.
There was that one scene involving Dracula's daughters and a baby.
Dracula.
Yeah, that even though it did happen off screen, you could actually hear the baby's death cry. At least they didn't do that in this movie.
No.
Yeah.
No. But
oh yes, Heather, I know that song. Good, Corey Hart, classic.
Yeah. So I can. Oh, yeah. Wait. I missed the cue.
oh, you got the song. Okay.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
Nice. Oh, man.
Watch you and
Yo, Nick. What's going on there, man?
He's putting on his This Is Towns World thon.
Are we seriously making this a thing now? Everybody's gonna show up all dressed up and dapper and whatnot.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I'm
even though my fat face is protruding out of this thing right now, but that's all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only wearing this because I got a little chilly in my condo. So,
well, that's what you got hoodies for, man.
Yeah. But yeah, Tom, like The Witch, I think this is something you'll really enjoy because I was telling Nick that this really does feel like more like a domestic version of The Crucible.
Really?
Yeah, where where Thomason is accused of witchcraft because of tragedy after tragedy happening on their farmland, and this really is like a message about kind of like a history lesson about how what it's like to try to start a farm in an inhospitable environment, and the religious beliefs, the strong religious belief system that they used to have back then, and also about the paranoia of witchcraft. The Salem witch trials.
See, maybe this can work. When you do these shows, maybe you should have somebody on the show that did not watch the movie at all, so that everybody else could explain the movie to that person. I'm seeing a new dynamic for the show.
I know it's like I don't like doing that because I hate spoiling good movies for people.
Well, but I mean, you don't have to give away the ending. But you could explain the build up and everything like that. It's.
Yeah, this film definitely does.
By the way, Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Nick's doing it now. I got to take
my dad told me that when that movie came out in theaters, they were walking by, guys were running out screaming, "Darth Vader is Luke's father!"
Apparently, Nicolas Cage was there.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage. Yeah, I just saw the movie. Great stuff.
When you did that scream, it sounded like your impression of Nicolas Cage.
Yep. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
And Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Oh my God.
That's right. I saw it. He was.
That's right.
He said he did not say, "Luke, I am your father." He said, "No, I am your father."
Can you imagine if Arnold Schwarzenegger played Darth Vader?
No, I am your father. Come on.
Oh, wait, hang on, guys.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, wait a second here. Yeah. 2 family members who survived the Salem witch trials. Always interesting hearing different tales on witches.
Wow, Heather, that's really interesting.
You know what? I didn't know that witches had tails, but I mean, we all learned something new.
That's really fascinating, Heather.
Wow,
that's something you should. Heather, since you're going through the YouTube page, I don't know if you're seeing this through Don's personal page, but you should check out the network that the show is a part of. We're part of something called Things Network. So you could follow up, and if you got more you want to talk about in this case on some of the other shows, feel free to do so. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, and while you're on YouTube, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do it.
Yes.
No, don't do it. Don't do
it. Spiffy. Yep. Yes, I am.
I
like what Heather said earlier. Said I wear my sunglasses at night. That's a good song.
Not spiffy. I'm just saying.
Let's see. I would to answer your question, Braxton. I would say the Necronomicon is is like definitely a more powerful book among the spell book from Hocus Pocus, because the Necronomicon summons like much more messed up things than their book.
It brings up Kandarian demons.
Yeah.
And oh wait, was that in your live? Yeah, it was in your live feed. You saw in your live feed. You saw the house I built, right?
I think so.
The Evil Dead house.
Does this mean this book is far more powerful than
Wait,
the
did you not see that yet?
I don't wait. You built another house in Minecraft that was based on.
The
Oh no,
Evil
I
Dead
didn't.
cabin.
Oh,
I
wait! You
forgot.
were supposed to Tom. You were
Yeah,
supposed
I
to.
thought he was there. I thought he saw it, and I just gave
No,
it.
he did it. Now you ruined it. Look what you've
Don't
done.
worry. Wait.
Damn.
Keep coming.
Okay, well,
I
all right. Well, yeah.
basement and
So
all, and
yeah,
the shed.
yeah. So yeah, Tom. Like, so what's going on in The Witch is this family that was cast out from their community because of they have different opposing religious views, and so they have to live off of like this isolated wooded area, and they're targeted by witchcraft.
Yep.
Yep, by a coven.
Heather
By an
just got
oven.
back. Okay, so on Don's, I'll check it out. I have a strong family background, including great etc. grandfather who King Henry VIII. Strong ties to different stories in history. Wow,
That's that's incredible.
it's really powerful.
That is
Yeah,
awesome.
that's yeah. Some point you're definitely gonna have to talk. We definitely would. Don, is there some way to? Because you got control over this. Is there some way you could send the YouTube link to her? To Things Network.
I think I can, or at the very least, I can. At
You
the
put it in the public chat.
Yeah, yo, well, yeah, we could put it in the public chat. I'm pretty sure we could also put it in the comments on this. So,
That's what I mean. The comments. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, no doubt we can. Yes.
And speaking of which, I mean, I just got to say, since she's from Iowa, good likely chance later this year during the summer is that looking Rico Swat. No, I was going to say with Heather later this year, I might actually be passing through Iowa. Iowa's not the actual destination, but I'm probably going to be passing through it later this year for a trip out to the West.
Oh my God! You know what you got to do when you're out there? You got to go visit the Field of Dreams house. It's still there, and it still looks exactly the same. I mean, the cornfield's gone, but like the baseball field is still there.
Oh. Okay, and where's that at? That's in Iowa?
Yeah.
Where in Iowa?
I'll find out.
Right. And so yeah, like in town, like so basically, like all their problems, they're just blaming on witchcraft. Like their crops are failing, the animals are getting sick, and there are some pretty brutal scenes in this film, including which involves like dead animals.
Dyersville, Iowa.
Where?
Dyersville, Iowa. Dyersville. Dyersville.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
gotta go see that, and you gotta take video of it and put it up.
Oh, she's right by that, Tom.
Oh,
she's. Oh, wait. Oh, so this is like Western Iowa. She's by Villisca. That's where the axe murder house is located. The axe murders that occurred on that family back in June of 1912. That was a
wait. That was
this
there.
Whole time, my microphone has been all the way around there, and I didn't even realize it. And you guys didn't tell me.
I did suspect something at first, Tom. Like you sounded a little. Your voice it sounded like. Yeah.
Wow.
What were you saying though, Don? After what I said about the murders?
Oh yeah, I didn't know that was there in that.
Oh yeah, that's why it's called the Villisca Axe Murder House. It was a very gruesome, and even over 100 plus years, even over 110 years later, they still don't know who did it. It's still an unsolved murder. Heather said, "Oh, she's in Council Bluffs by Omaha, so she's okay. That means that she's right by the Iowa-Nebraska border."
That shows how good my microphone is. It was like swung all the way around the other side of my computer, like the desktop here. It was all the way around the other side, and you guys could still hear me pretty well, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, you can hear me better now. Can you hear me now?
One final thing to point out, because
you hear me now? Good.
Final thing to point out, because this just brought back a memory for me, is that since she's in Council Bluffs and she's right by Villisca, just over almost a year ago was when Villisca was nearly hit by that massive tornado that struck. I can't remember which town it was, but it was an EF4. They had a really bad hits. So I'm hoping those areas are doing a lot better now.
Well, I would think.
Oh, I didn't know about this, Braxton. I'll have to look this up afterwards. Huh.
He's on Trial as a Witch. It's here on you. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up too, because again, my love of history. That's something I'd like to check. Travesty of Injustice. Yeah.
That weather was awful. Huh?
Neil
Yeah,
Patrick
she's talking about when
he's Doogie Howser, man.
Yeah,
He is.
she's talking about the tornado outbreak. It was a really terrible event over in that part of Iowa and Nebraska.
Yes.
I have lore of a celebrity in my local area right here too. Kevin Bacon's family actually attended the local Quaker house here that I did a video on actually a couple of years ago.
Okay, that's awesome.
But yeah, his family still goes there, as far as I know.
That's incredible.
So one day I might run into Kevin Bacon. I'm just saying.
You can only hope.
And then that whole 7 degrees to Kevin Bacon thing just narrows like look, I met him. I talked to him. He was on my YouTube channel. Damn it! Come on.
He's subscribing to your YouTube channel.
He might. He
might. He could. Yeah. So, Nick, what do you think was probably the most shocking scene of this whole movie?
Well, you talked about with the animals. I think the one that really disturbed me of all was when they were locked up in the barn, and that witch was kind of like disemboweling. Like you couldn't really, you only saw her from behind when she was disemboweling. I don't know if it was a cow. It's been such a long time.
A goat. It was a goat.
It was a goat. Yeah. It's honestly, I haven't really seen it since we saw it in theaters. So, yeah, that was just, and just the way how she turned back and made that evil cackle too, like knowing she was ready to kill these kids. It was like, that was like, geez.
Yeah. And I haven't been to Nevada, I don't think.
Yeah. Virginia City, I mean, I don't know too much about it, but I know Virginia City is where they have the Virginia City Paracon. I don't know.
Of all the places for them to have the Virginia City Paracon, Virginia City is like really a weird place to have it. I'm just
Nevada.
Saying. And let's see. I don't want to give the movie away, but I just like how the ending was pretty shocking, which involved levitation. I will just say that.
And I also will say this.
So Nick, well, like when you think about it, it's levitation. That means that's what it was all about, just leading to everybody floating. We all
float down here.
We all float out here. Yes, we do.
What I was also going to say too with that was, not only just levitation. I was going to say, let's just also say a deal with the devil. That's all I'm going to. That's the only other thing.
Well, he did go down to Georgia, and he was looking for a soul to steal. I'm just saying.
That's pretty much what was. Yeah, that's pretty much what was going on in this movie. And, it's like, no matter what the devil promises you, don't make deals with him. The devil is a liar. He will deceive you.
Imagine.
Imagine that. Wait a minute. What Braxton said. You want to see real ghosts, phantoms, paranormal? Yep. Come to Louisiana. Louisiana is no stranger to a lot of the paranormal stuff, especially in New Orleans.
But if you want to see a dead body, you got to meet up with Will Wheaton.
No, Louisiana, though, that's definitely no stranger at all. I've been down there myself. I've checked out some of the haunted hotels in the French Quarter. It's a very haunted state. And not to mention, not only just the paranormal stuff, the voodooism. It's got almost the Cajun beliefs. They got almost everything down there.
I'm envisioning in my mind, like in the French Quarter, I am a ghost. I am haunting this place.
Oh my God.
Heather says New Orleans is my favorite city. Yeah, it's a great city. I mean,
I gotta go.
Oh yeah, you haven't been there yet, Don?
Yeah. Hey, first chance I get, I'm going. I gotta check it out.
I'm gonna just tell you.
You know what? I want to go in February. I'm just saying. Because
I knew that's what you were thinking. No, I will tell you this, Don, from experience. I went back when I was in high school. New Orleans, it's a really fantastic city. There's a lot of history to it. Again, definitely a lot of ghost stories. In fact, at the time that we went to New Orleans, this was like back in 2007, 2008.
Drunk French pirate ghost.
as hard as it sounds to believe, when we went back in late 2000, I think it was 2007 or 8 we went. I think that was when New Orleans was still kind of still recovering from the effects of Hurricane Katrina. So we did see, most of that area had already been rebuilt, but you could still see Yeah, I mean, you could still see some parts of some parts of the damage, but obviously now it's been over 20 years, and I've seen a lot of different documentaries and shows with New Orleans. They've really brought themselves back up. I I trust me, when you have the opportunity, Don, you won't be disappointed.
Yep. Oh, and I will say this, Tom. I know you haven't seen The Witch, but you look at the cover of this. Notice that there is a black goat. It does play an important role to this, and
Yep.
in a way that's pretty shocking.
Huh.
Yep.
And look how it says in the cover: "Evil takes many forms." That will make sense.
It does.
Involving the goat. Yes.
Well,
It could be
evil.
something-
Well, I have learned that in many movies, among which my favorite string of movies, the Evil Dead movies, that evil does take many forms.
Yeah.
Well, I know it also takes a lot of many
I'm
forms.
a fan.
Well,
Hey, you know what? I mean, I don't want to hear about how I take many forms. I mean, I listen. I know I was a pickle, but I mean,
That's not actually what I was going to say, but I was going to say I know a lot of the alcohol takes many forms. That's the devil's drinks.
Yep.
But yeah,
And,
yeah, you know what, Morty? Even he basically changed into a pickle.
That's right. That's right. Why do you think the devil went down to Georgia? I mean, that's where they make the best whiskey. I mean, I'm just saying.
let's see.
Energy,
Yep,
music.
Those are
food,
things I'll be looking forward to.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
to this day.
Buffy series didn't play down. Oh, yeah, Braxton.
Yeah.
Yeah, that may not have taken place down there, but I believe True Blood did.
To this day, I still wish we could have spent a little bit more time down in New Orleans because I didn't really get to try a lot of their food. We actually were on a cruise. New Orleans was just kind of our stop to get on the cruise ship and back. So I wish we could have spent more time. Would have loved to have tried a lot.
Never
of their
been on a
stuff,
cruise.
especially Cajun food.
Yeah,
My goddess is currently on a cruise right now, but I have never been on a cruise.
You haven't.
all right.
No, never.
Neither
I've
of you
never been.
guys?
I've never been on a boat in the ocean ever.
I went twice back in high school. Once to
So
Mexico.
I could
and
be
then the
getting.
other
I
two,
could be getting motion sickness. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I went twice. I went on to Mexico and I think on Cancun and also to Jamaica, which to this day that's still the only time I've ever truly been out of the country.
Yeah, I've been on a boat in the Delaware River, which isn't really that wide when it comes down to it. But
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
I've never been on a boat in the ocean.
One day.
Don, we ought to plan a trip to go down to New Orleans.
Yeah, we and several others. We gotta gather on this.
That would be a very well.
So when Nick starts going down, he's gonna plan to go to Georgia. Well, the pickle went down to Georgia.
Go on a cruise. You'll get future deals. I'm planning one for my husband and I. You'll save money and get perks. Perks, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
I definitely got to consider that.
I like perks.
Hey, come to think of it now,
Jeez.
I think I was actually offered to go down to New Orleans a few years ago for my now brother-in-law for the bachelor party. I think they were having that down in New Orleans, but unfortunately, it was not just me, my brother too. Unfortunately, we couldn't go because, well, let's face it. I mean, it's a great idea, Don. Don't get me wrong, but man, that would be expensive as hell. So he would have to really save up a lot in order to go down to a city like New Orleans.
Yeah, my sister's stepdaughter, her wedding was in New Orleans. Like everybody else got to go, but I was like, oh well, I don't have the money. I can't. I can't do that.
I actually had and to think now, I also had a second opportunity to go down to New Orleans a few years back because I had a former show host friend of mine who was getting married who lived not too far from New Orleans, and I was supposed to go down to this wedding down in Louisiana, but even after the wedding we were going to do investigations throughout that particular area near the Louisiana Mississippi border, but unfortunately things didn't go so well either for that. So, but hopefully next time, but it'll happen someday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways,
so obviously with the witch, like it's hugely heavily inspired by like the hysteria that was going on back then. Like people suspicious of witchcraft, but
it's a weird way to take off a sports jacket, but all right.
Yeah, but one thing that impressed me the most about this film was just the dialogue and just the way they talked back then in the movie, because it really felt very, very genuine. Like thinking, like with the way people talked back in the 1630s. Like, and let's see, what does thou want from me? Like things like phrases like that we don't use now. It's like they actually, I researched it and it confirmed exactly what I had what I suspected. They were looking at manuscripts and like all sorts of written materials that
Yeah.
was from that era.
Right.
So
They can't possibly know how people talked on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean?
from back then, yes,
Yeah, there was no records of that. And
yeah, it's
Their
like
journals were the
they
only
could go by
record.
plays and stuff, but like plays, even today, like people
yeah,
like in plays, they don't talk the way we talk. You know what I
No,
mean?
they
Like
don't.
like
no.
they will say "do not" instead of "don't" and stuff. Yeah, like stupid shit like that. But
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty sure they didn't because when I first saw this movie, I'm thinking they couldn't have just looked at some Shakespeare plays and thought, okay, they're just that. No, they did much more than that. So I really do give this movie credit for going above and beyond for for getting the
right,
dialogue right for that era.
right. So it,
Yeah,
it it might like for all we know around here at back then, it could have been like a Cockney English
Yeah, like kind of like
accent. You know,
yep.
like.
yeah. Oh, here,
What is
$5.
going on
That's how it's
here?
up
What are
from
you
$5
doing?
to $900, depending on room. Plus, you can make payments. But yes, do investigations on cruise or Mexico. Yeah, they have. That's the
Yes.
other thing too. Mexico has a lot of big witch stories down there too. They got a lot, probably a lot more than what we got. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of different witch stories down in Mexico.
Yeah. And Tom, like what confused some people about when they looked at this movie, like, they looked at it the way the witch was spelled, like with two V's instead of a
Yeah.
W.
Well,
The
I mean,
reason, yeah,
that was the way things were done. I mean, back then, like,
yeah,
uh,
because I don't think W was a very recognized letter in the alphabet back then.
well, like even in the Roman alphabet, like they did things like that. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like they replaced a W with a V, just a
Hmm.
single V.
Yeah. Oh, hey
The
Billy.
way how I kind of see it too was that it was like
Kate's not there now.
needed
Kate's
like
not with
we
anymore
needed
right
like
now.
some other type of new
Kate
letter
is
involved.
entertaining right now. She has a guest overnight because of inclement weather.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that's also us too, but yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's not
Kate's,
Well, the
me.
other thing too
yeah,
was like,
I mean,
Kate's
it's
not in the chat.
cold, but that's about it. That's
Yeah.
it's freezing outside today.
it has been here all day. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's been cold all
I
day
can
today.
tell
It's
you
like,
because I work outside. So
let's see,
Is it in the negative over there, Tom?
it's 11 degrees where I'm at.
oh, well, I couldn't tell you what it is. Here.
Josh
I
says another
will.
recommendation: go to Guatemala.
Hmm,
That's not surprising to me.
interesting.
Central America has a number of
Oh, it's
witchcraft
25 here.
too.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't be
Jay said in,
surprised if
yeah, that's right.
Guatemala has one of them.
That's right. They did spell Jehovah differently in in Hebrew back then.
Well, Hebrew is a weird transition between English and Hebrew language.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's very strange. Like the words kind of look the way they do in English, but they don't. You know. It's.
Yeah.
13 degrees over in
I mean,
Everett.
and let's not even get into Yiddish. That's a whole
Yeah.
different thing
So
altogether.
yeah, so Tom, like so in this movie, like the witchcraft was like causing like family members to just fall one by one, starting with that baby in the opening scene.
Yeah, that
Like,
was just like the way how I kind of see that is that it was almost if because obviously you knew in the end that there was more than one witch involved in this whole
Mm.
thing.
yeah, I was about to say
Even though it was called the witch, you knew there was more than one, and it was almost like as if they were trying to target like from weakest to strongest. That's the way how
yeah.
I see it.
Yeah, finally got down to like the father. You know what? I got to talk about the dad, William. He was the actor who played him, Ralph Einstein. Yeah, he was incredible as him. Like, let's see, I believe he was also in Deathly Hallows Part Two, if I remember correctly.
Hmm.
I mean,
He was
because
also briefly in. I didn't
Arrow.
realize that was him until about a few weeks after I saw it. He also makes a brief.
He was just walking along one day and went, "Oh my god!"
He also made a brief appearance in the opening of. And you guys seen that movie Kingsman?
Yes, I had that up there. Yeah.
That's a good movie. He
It
was the detective in the opening of the film when they were interviewing Eggsy, when he was interviewing Eggsy, and then he let him go. afterwards. That was him.
I believe he was also in Green Knight, that movie with Alicia Vikander.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that movie either.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies.
Yeah. Hey, Braxton, I wish it was 46 degrees here.
Degrees. Yeah, right now it is. Check over here for us.
I can
11.
tell you where Stephanie is right now.
Yeah, it's probably
She's
nice.
out on the Atlantic Ocean, somewhere outside of the country, off of the coast of Florida. So it's probably like 80-some degrees where she is right now.
Yeah.
Currently, right now for us, it is 10 degrees, but it says it feels like it's 4 degrees. So yeah, like I said earlier, that's why I wanted to make a quick visit when I had to go outside.
It's like 25 here right now. So.
Yeah.
Kingsman Kingsman's good, Braxton. I've seen the first and second one too.
And yeah, I'm trying not to spoil this movie too much because I know that Heather, I know you said you haven't seen The Witch, and Tom, you haven't seen it, but yeah, there are several like disturbing things then, like such as when the twins in this, like they were like
Come
like
play
little
with
toddlers.
us, Danny.
Yeah, they were just like little toddlers. Let's see, I'm trying to think. What were the names?
It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, Mercy and Jonas. It was a girl and a boy.
Yep.
And they were playing like this goat. They with the huge horns that keeps running around. It was this goat, Black Phillip.
Yep.
They keep saying the goat talks to them, like tells them certain things, and I'm just like, yeah, but it's like like there are some things in this film that seem to be like strange at first, but do make sense later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
I just had that feeling
I don't want to give it away, but yeah, but that's the case.
I'm not going to spoil too much on this either, but I just had that feeling that Black Phillip was going to use those horns to gore somebody, wow. And that was like, and he did. He definitely gored him.
He did, and then a pile of logs fell on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, man, down here is 46, Mr. Freeze and Sub-Zero setting up shop to us.
That's right. There's Mr. Freeze. Come on. Come on, it's Mr. Freeze.
Oh, I forgot to mention to Heather, since she's a new viewer. Heather also, because I should have said this when Tom was talking this way, we're also big fans of Rick and Morty. So you'll hear Tom talk like Rick and Morty a lot.
No, you won't. I mean, I don't like talking like him at all. I don't know.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
You know what? I'm whatever, man.
Should we some hot tea? Oh, here. Have you seen the Evil series? They made demons amazing with their horns. Oh yeah, you mean like Evil Dead series? Oh no, wait.
She's talking about, it's a series I think just called Evil.
Oh wait.
And, I've been meaning to watch that too. I haven't seen it yet.
I'll have to look into it. I'll have to check that out.
I got to catch up on. Yeah, I hope and Heather knows exactly what we're talking about. Rick and Morty are hilarious. She knows. Yeah.
Nice. Oh man.
Hey, look at me. I'm a pickle.
Yeah, which is the reason why we call him Pickle Tom, especially after that episode of Pickle Rick, Heather.
Yeah. And and also obviously religion plays religion plays a huge role in this film. Like the family, like several of them are like worried about like where they'll end up in the afterlife, especially the character Caleb, the little brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's one scene that some people talk about where where he notices his older sister Thomasin, like Anya Taylor-Joy's character, like noticing her developing physically.
What's her name?
Yeah,
Thomasin. I'm thinking that's just because he's like unfamiliar with the whole concept of like girls maturing, and was just like weirded out by that. Or it could be that, I don't know.
I only asked what her name was because I heard you say Thomasin. I've never heard that variation of Thomas.
Thomasin. It's a girl, I guess.
Like I've heard Thomasina,
yeah,
but not Thomasin. Like that's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe that was just a common name back then, but yeah, it was a girl's name.
Wow.
Or maybe it's a girl named a girl named like variant of Thomas. I don't know.
Or Thomasina. It's
another thing to point out when you just brought up about Caleb is that what the hell are you doing?
I'm pointing it out.
Pointing what out?
You said another thing to point out. So oh wow. You can't even keep up with what you say. Wow.
All right. Okay, so that's just how I usually say it.
Anyway, about Caleb, Nick.
It seemed like Caleb seems to be kind of the most like almost a real, like quite aware of what was going on around their house. Like he seemed, I don't know, it was almost like he had more knowledge than the rest of the family did.
Yeah, but then there was that scene where he just was off looking for food at nights, and where he was, where Caleb was just off looking for food, like trying to find apples and or basically just anything that he could hunt for because they're desperate, they're starving. But then comes across a woman wearing a red cloak,
Yep.
and then who just goes over to and then starts making out with him, and that I thought that was pretty disturbing. It's like I was like a grown woman, and that kid probably looks like what 11, maybe 12 years old.
At least Heather got it.
It's not only just the vibe of what's going to happen. I just know that when you see that kind of thing, it's just like, oh God, he's a dead kid. I just know he was dead at that point. I mean, I know he didn't immediately, but then when you later saw him, it's like, oh God, no.
Yeah, and what happens to him when he comes back to the home is disturbing.
Yep.
I don't want to give I don't want to give parts of this movie away, but
you do, but you don't. I get it.
I'm just going to say it's just so messed up. I'm surprised that they were able to get away with a scene like even with that.
Oh yeah,
right.
And what Thomason what wrong time.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
You don't want. If you don't know what that means, you don't want to know. You don't want to know.
I know what it means.
Well, for those who don't, you don't want to know.
I think everybody knows what a MILF is.
Yeah.
At this point.
Hey, Heather also said, used to work at a dispensary. I had a Rick and Morty grinder.
Oh, did you? Nice.
Yes, you did.
Wait. Was it Cronenberg or?
Wait a minute. She also said something else too. And Tom, we know how to speak this way. She also requested one other voice. Do Beavis and Butthead. Damn it, Beavis.
Oh yeah. Wait, you know what? It usually just comes out fluidly. I can't like bring it out. So
yeah.
Let me see.
And but I'm not gonna give away too much, Heather. But I will say it's a woman in red. But woman in red could be. I mean, hey, woman in red could mean anything. It could be Red Riding Hood. It could be Ada from Resident Evil. It could be.
It could be Mona from Who's the Boss. That was a lady.
Let's see, Jessica Rabbit. Any woman in red. Yeah. Woman. Okay, that just gave me a pretty. Mentioning Jessica Rabbit in this movie just made.
What were you thinking?
That just gave me a pretty disturbing image.
I know that's what I'm saying. What were you thinking?
Don't tell me, Jessica, it's you. Please.
That was actually really good.
Well, I can sound like him sometimes.
Jessica Rabbit is my hero. Yes, that movie is a childhood favorite of mine.
Well, you are a redhead, by the way. I mean, I don't know if that's real red hair, but you are a redhead.
Covered her song. Oh, did you cover her song?
Yeah, she has red hair.
You need to share the link.
Oh, covered her song on YouTube. I'm gonna have to check this out.
Share the link.
Definitely. Yes, I love to see it.
And we will watch it.
Yeah, because I love that movie, and to hear a cover from that'd be great.
You had
and also make sure
money 19.
And also make sure to. I'm just gonna say it anyway. Make sure at some point to go to. Make sure to go to Tom's channel. It's youtube.com/ this is Tom's World. No apostrophe.
No punctuation. No
contact Mike Judd.
All one word.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wasn't born evil. I was just drawn that way.
That's right. Wait. Was that Jessica Rabbit or was that in that movie Hollywood?
No, it was Jessica Rabbit.
It was Jessica Rabbit.
Okay. You remember that movie Hollywood with what's his name in it?
Yeah. And so
there was like Hollywood if she could.
But Heather, this movie is definitely worth seeing, not just because if you're not just because you're a horror fan or if you're into like witchcraft and all that, but it's also worth seeing because this was the breakout role for Anya Taylor-Joy, who would move on to all sorts of amazing projects after this one. Like she was in, we were just talking about this earlier. She was in, Split. She was in Glass. She was in, most recently she was Furiosa.
Now, here's a question. I got to get this out of my head because I'm just like really curious. Because I remember when she was in The Witch. when she was in The Witch, she had blonde hair, but then like when she was in Split, she had like dark brown hair. What's her real hair color she's got?
Huh. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking it might be blonde. Let me check. And
Because I haven't really had an opportunity of checking to see like what's her actual hair color, because it seems like it changes each movie she's in.
yeah, she does dye it in different shades. I think she is natural blonde.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Well, Heather's all on board. She said she's going to check it out for sure.
Yes.
Oh, and also she said the red is gone. It's black hair now.
Ah, I see.
You had plenty money, 1922.
And also Heather, I like how The Witch like has the same director as the most recent big hit, Nosferatu.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Eggers. Yes, this was his debut film, first time writing and directing. Yeah, this guy really hit the ground running.
There's another big similarity that I wanted to point out too, compared to both The Witch and Nosferatu, and I'm saying this for both movies. So, the one thing I really enjoyed, especially when in this case with Robert Eggers, is when you talked about the dialogue earlier.
Right.
Other big factor that is really well done is the costumes they use.
Yes.
And it's just like, not only do you have the dialogue, but they really went down to the bone of making sure that this was of making sure that these folks were in that rightful time period. Like in this case with The Witch, that people were dressed up exactly as they did back in the 1630s, versus also this case with Nosferatu, where, funny enough, actually it takes place 200 years later in the 1830s.
Yes, that's right. And they did an amazing job making the whole 1630s feel, like the way they talked, the way they dressed, the way they lived. All of it just looked legit in The Witch.
I honestly think that I don't know if I've seen a better. I don't think I've seen any better movies in this case, at least in the horror. I mean, there have been plenty of other movies that of other genres that have been made around that same time period, but I don't think I've seen any better like period horror movies since.
Period.
I don't think I've seen any better movies like that since when Roger Corman made his Edgar Allan Poe films with Vincent Price back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh, here, Nick. While we're here, maybe we should post the link for Things Network for Heather.
Yeah, I'll send it to you, and that way you could share it in the chat.
No, those Vincent Price movies were like epic. They really were.
Yeah, they were. They were.
Like he did so many like bizarre stories that are like mainstream. Like the Telltale Heart and stuff like that. And
here,
Mask of the Red Death. That kind of thing.
Here, did you just send it?
No, I'm getting on YouTube right now. So yeah, give me a minute.
What is she on YouTube? Is she commenting from?
She's commenting from YouTube. Yeah, she's commenting.
Wait. Which YouTube is she commenting from? Is she's commenting from Things or Don?
She's commenting on her personal profile.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I'm scared on her on Don's personal profile.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Yeah, that's right. Come on.
Keep up with me. Come on, you can't keep up with me.
There you go, Don.
You can't do it.
Okay.
You're a girly man. You can't.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, here, I got it. Okay, copy and let's see.
Hey, what's up, Jeremy?
How's it going, Jer? Paste. All right. Here you go. Here you go. Heather, send it to you now.
And don't forget too, it's going to be.
When I bend over like that and I make the old man noises, then it's apparent that I'm 50.
I got you. Yeah. So. All right. And to sum it up, The Witch, it's definitely one of the most memorable horror movies in recent years.
Hmm.
In the over the past decade. I mean,
what year did that come out?
2015.
Oh.
So yeah, this is the 10 years. Yeah.
COVID days of karaoke. What Heather said.
What?
Oh, maybe she's talking about the cover that she was doing, like karaoke. I don't know.
Oh, that was when she did. That was when she did her.
Listen, I'm telling you, you need to post a link to that video.
Oh, she's
We
subscribed.
need to
Okay.
see it.
Wait a minute.
I'm sure. Well, her name's right here. I'm pretty sure if I type it, I can come across it.
Well, if she has
that
it on her
reminds me of-
YouTube.
That
She may
reminds me
not.
too. I need to do something. I also need to send a second link.
She did say it was on YouTube earlier.
Yeah, she's on. Yeah, she was watching through Don's personal profile. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh.
Hang on, Don. I got another link you got to send out to her. Hang on. And Tom, you're probably gonna know which one this is.
Wait, what?
You'll see. Once Don sends it.
I did send it.
No, I sent a second link.
Oh, you sent a second link. Oh, here, let me.
Yeah,
take a look.
because I said since she's on YouTube, that reminds me.
Oh, this one. Yeah, Tom's World. Okay, there we go. Okay, and this one is for this. This one's for This Is Tom's World. This is for Tom.
Oh.
Yep. So there.
Wait,
now you got
this is for me?
Yep.
Yes, it is. I know you're desperate for the subscribers.
Oh man. Yeah. So yeah. Now I'll definitely have to look you up, Heather, and I'm looking forward to seeing that cover.
Yeah, I'd like to see that too. We'll
Had
definitely
plenty money, 1922.
It's always, I gotta just say real quick. It's always he said she subscribed to your channel too, Todd. They got another subscriber.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to sum it up,
I'm working my way to 3,000.
You're almost at 3,000?
No, I'm working my way to it.
Yeah,
I'm at 2,500 something.
he's going to become Mr. 3000. Nice.
Yeah, he's gonna have to change his name to Mr. 3000 at that point.
That's right.
I was gonna say, real quick, it's always nice when we get new viewers and subscribers to watching our shows and supporting our networks. That's always a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
So it's definitely good. Heather, it's definitely great to meet you. I should have even said in the beginning. Welcome, and we hope you definitely enjoy not only this show but the other shows that are on this network as well. So, hope to see you more.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, and Jeremy said we got 240. Oh, yep, there you go, Jeremy. Got 245. Moving on up.
Oh yeah, nice.
So we're
And
moving
Heather,
on up.
You're gonna see him too. A guy named Jeremy York here. He's the founder. He's actually the one who runs Things Network. So he's done. I actually help out with a show of his. I actually co-host with a show with him, and he also does two other shows, The 13th Dimension and also Marks on Wrestling. So
yes,
we kind of also delve into it. Although most of our shows are usually paranormal, we do delve into a couple other subject matters as well.
Yes, and Heather, as far as my channel goes, I do a variety of things. The FearFans podcast I do every Tuesday, 8:30 Central Time, and I do this for Things Network, but I also do my own independent work, which includes reaction videos and also video game live streams. As a matter of fact, I believe I'm going to be doing another one of those tomorrow.
And sometimes he does Minecraft, and we're all on.
We do occasionally do my Minecraft on the live stream. Yeah, but one of the games I've been playing lately on the live stream is Silent Hill 2 remake, and that one's especially terrifying. And let's see.
Heather, if you want to check out some of the others, I guess I should have been a little bit more descriptive. I do a few other shows than just this one. I do have my own show, which is going to be coming back real soon. A show called The Nick Files, which focuses on a lot of historic and paranormal locations, though I'm also starting to do more cryptozoology, ufology. I mean, I basically, even serial killers at times. I'm doing almost everything as well as historic events, which is the only show as far as I know that where I usually, and you can meet my cat Slinky too, just showed up. And that one I usually do around on Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. CST. And like I said, then Thursday I actually do two shows. I do a show from the UK called I'm still trying to get used to it.
I don't remember
wait, what am I saying? You Tom and I are part of this. I already forgot what the other show was. The Thursday show was called.
The parent. Oh Christ!
Yeah, see, Nick, this is why I only stick to one show.
Paranormal Carousel. Or
No. Wait, just came back. Mystical Carousel show. That's what it is. We do that at 3:00 again, CST.
Yeah, I contribute nothing to the paranormal aspect.
Yeah, Tom's still part of it, but we love him anyway. But it's not just me and him though. It's also hosted by a few other show hosts from the UK. We got Lois. We got Lois from Scotland, Lynn from Wales, Wayne from the UK, and we just had 2 other additional shows.
Wayne, by the way, Wayne sounds just like Michael Caine.
That's right. I knew you were going to say that. And also, we just had 2 other show hosts added. We got Mary and Shane, who both live in the Netherlands, and then later in the evening, I do a second show called Supernatural Talk. Like I said, I do that with Jeremy, Adrian, and Eileen. I don't think we have a subject matter for this Thursday.
And no, Eileen does not lean.
And finally, on Fridays, we basically have a secondary show with the same show host from the UK, which that one's called Fools and Ghouls, which we do at 2:00. And, I'm sorry, because again, I do so many shows. And also, once in a while, I also help out with a show from Australia called Paranormal Perth, PWA. And that one is also on Thursday nights at 10:00 CST. So that's the really cool thing about our network, Heather, to kind of introduce you more to it, is we got different paranormal podcast hosts literally from all over the world in 4 different continents: North America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. And also sometimes I help out with the show too, every now and then, with a show called Spooky Japan with Amanda and Irene. So definitely check it out. Yeah, she's like, give me more to watch. We got plenty of shows. And also, I'm sorry, because again, I got so much. And if you want to check out any personal stuff, like since Don, you talked about your personal work, I also have done audiobooks for different scary stories. Although I'm recently, I have to go through a lot of repairs of some of my past audiobooks, but I'm planning on re-uploading them onto my personal YouTube page. So if you like scary stories and stuff, I got plenty of them. In fact, most of the books that I've read are based upon this book, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
And I have
your YouTube channel. We know.
I've done some of those stories.
Yeah, he has. And same with Don.
I did too.
He's done a story.
Even though there's only one up there right now, and the second one has just been hanging up there for over a year.
I know, because that's all right. I've been going through a lot of the repairs.
Hey, hey, just do what I do, Nick. Get a MacBook Pro.
What's that got? That's not going to make any difference.
Yes, it would. It performs very well, and I'll get a good 4 terabyte hard drive.
I'm just going to say this, Tom. And here's another voice, Heather, that Tom and I often do too. You said it's still hanging in the air. I've been so busy, man. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Listen, you can't do it because you're not from Philly. You can't get the Philly accent to get the Rocky. I'm just saying. I mean, I got it. I mean,
but what are you gonna do?
It's underlying in my vocabulary. I don't know. I'm just trying to make a point.
Oh man.
Heather said she wanted to do audiobooks so bad. That's how. Well, you'll definitely like these.
Well, I mean, she wants me to read it as Rocky. Listen, little Bo Peep. She was. She had some sheep. I don't know.
Heather said there was a Bigfoot sighting in Iowa and Omaha recently too. I'm not surprised. That's kind of a relatively unusual spot for Bigfoot reports.
Well, I mean, he don't like to hang out there. I mean,
all right. So to sum it up, The Witch. It's a very good movie. Definitely check it out, and especially if you like Anya Taylor-Joy's performances, because this is one of her best, in my opinion. And,
it definitely has. It's one thing for sure is that it's definitely incredibly dark, incredibly messed up to some degree, but at the same time though, it's just so well acted with the way how they really put again all these dialects together. Excuse me.
And they put these dialects together, man.
It's just a really well done movie.
It is. It's very phenomenally well done. I can't believe that IMDb gives it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously, it deserves better than that.
Heather, I forgot to mention, you'll see this cat show up. This is my cat, Slinky. She shows up a lot of times on camera on a lot of the shows.
Yeah, Slinks.
Yeah, she always makes appearances all the time. She obviously is just doing this for the fame, but she could care less.
Right. Yeah. So that's gonna be it for this edition of the Fear Fans podcast. I got a few movies in mind for what we're gonna cover next week. I'm gonna post on very shortly. I'm gonna post on my community page on my YouTube channel a little bit of a poll, like so people can vote for which movie we'll be covering next.
I have one you can add to it.
Which one?
Brain scan.
Brain scan.
I think that's what it's called. Brain scan.
That one sounds familiar.
It's from the 80s. It's from the 80s.
Yes,
I originally thought he was going to say brain.
I think I came across that on a stream service. I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty
I
cool.
originally thought he was going to say Brain Dead, which was the alternate title for Dead Alive.
One of my favorite zombie flicks.
Yeah, it's still hard to believe it was done by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, the man who did the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yes,
what
that's going to be
movies do you have in mind, Don?
Let's see what movies I have in mind. Let's see. Several that people were pretty excited about. Let's see. There was Aliens. Okay, let's see. Jurassic Park. The Amityville Horror, because I know you'd be excited about that one, Nick.
Yeah, well, and that's what, and to point that out,
It had to be the original.
I'll say this for Heather as a new viewer too. Sometimes when we talk about a particular movie that's based on a true account, especially in this case, like with a haunted house case, we sometimes make Fear Fans a crossover show with my show, the Nick Files, because I have the actual case behind the movie, which we did a few months back with one of the Conjuring movies where I talk about the Enfield poltergeist and even showed some of the real stuff. So once we do the Amityville Horror, we're going to make, obviously, probably for a good half of the show, we'll probably talk about the movie first, and then we talk about the real story that was behind it. So it's always, there's something always special whenever my show Nick Files is crossed over with one of the other podcasts, which adds a very, in my personal opinion, I think it adds a very beneficial part to the show at times. Right. So it's more than just your typical slideshows. It's something that a lot, not just this show, but a lot of the other shows really appreciate whenever I have it put together.
Nice.
In a way,
I stand corrected.
My homework, in other words.
I stand corrected. Brain Scan was in 1994.
94.
Oh, was it in the 80s?
But it was still a really good movie.
Well, I have to look into it because I never really heard much about it. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, but
it's like early 90s, late 80s, kind of like horror that's based on technology. It's not bad. It really isn't bad.
I'll check it out. Yes.
Yeah.
So that'll be it.
Edward Furlong.
One final thing to throw out too. Don, you should tell everybody what we're going to be seeing this Friday.
Yep. This Friday, we're going to see Wolfman. I'm excited. Like, I'm just really hoping it's good because, remakes, it can be pretty iffy, but when announced. But the thing is, it is the same director as for the remake of The Invisible Man, which Lee Whannell, that was a good one. So So after seeing a good remake like that, I do have expectations for Wolfman.
And speaking of remakes, I've been getting notifications on my Facebook like crazy about the remake of Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, we're still a while off from that. That's that they're still trying to get that off the ground.
Josh, I know a lot of people. I just got to respond to what Josh said. I know a lot of people miss that show, and trust me, I miss doing it myself. Again, I've been so involved with a lot of video and audio projects. And of course, obviously, when it was the holidays, it was hard for me to even keep up with all those projects. But now that the holiday season is officially over, I'm officially going back to work on these audiobooks. And I've already made a promise to myself that I'm maybe not for every story, because some of these stories are pretty long, but for the shorter stories, I'm going to try to get one story completed a day so I can finally get this all fixed up. And then I can get back to Nick Files. So I'm going to be literally working around the clock to get these stories completed, so I can get these, so I can get back to Nick Files. So it's still going to be a long wait.
Around the clock.
Yeah, it's still going to be a long wait, but this is not the end of Nick Files. It will be back, and I also have some good news too, guys. just like what you have man, with oh, your daughter's a big zombie fan. She will love
Yes, because we talk about Return of the Living Dead, and I gotta say, I am a big fan of the original, and we cover.
So
And
am I.
yes, we did cover this on the show.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I just want to tell you guys too,
Said
just
more
like with your show, Don, I actually have an intro in the works for the Nick Files, which it's going to have a real. I'm just going to say it's going to have a real throwback to like old paranormal shows of the like late '90s, early 2000s. In fact, I even have borrowed a theme song from one of those old paranormal shows. I'm not going to say which one because I'd rather surprise everyone.
Zach
But it's going
Baggin.
to deliver. It's going to deliver kind of that nostalgic feel. But the other thing too is that even after once I get Nick Files back off the ground, yeah, I know. Even after when I get Nick Files back off the ground, it will still be a while before. Yeah, I know. I get tired of the 30-second countdown too. It will still be a while before the introduction is added because what I will say, I'll just give you guys a tiny brief description of what the intro is.
It should be a 10-second countdown. By the way,
because it's called the Nick Files, and I've covered a lot of different locations. I've decided to add all the different names of the locations that I've covered so far, and they just like pop up every time, like if you know what I mean. But because I still haven't done more episodes yet, I can't get the introduction done until I get more Nick Files complete and I covered these locations. So the intro will be coming. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but the more episodes I do, the more location names I could add to the intro to get this done.
right.
Right.
But you guys will love it. It's looking good so far.
All right. So yeah, that'll be it for this edition of the FearFans podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to tune in next week and for the next movie and I will let you guys decide which one we'll be covering next week. I'll put a poll up on my YouTube channel, the community page, right
He's
after
gonna
the
put
end of this.
all up.
Yep. So, that's gonna be it for this week.